it. All right, well, let's get started. I'm gonna talk for like 2 minutes and then shut down and let y'all proceed. For y'all that have taken the quiz that I sent out, I appreciate it. We had 64 submissions as of today. It went out to the entire, so out of 432, we're, not maybe 10%, a little over 10%. Going through it before the meeting, we are really low on our scores, and it was just a true false. I'm not sure if, for y'all that have taken it, I don't know if you're just taking it off the top of your head or you're actually diving into your rule book. And for those that haven't taken it, I would really like y'all to do it. Every Monday, I'm going to put out a quiz, 5 questions, pretty much true, false, or multiple choice. But the purpose of them is to get into the book. That's the purpose. That's fine if you want to go ahead and just do it off the bat and see where you're at. But it's not going to give you the answers like it would on like you do online, and it kicks it back what you got. So my advice is to definitely get into the book, because out of the 5 questions, I think only 3 or 4 people actually got 100, and the majority are missing, more than 50% of them. I try not to make them easy based on the NFHS that they put out. For y'all that have taken the tests on Arbiter, it's, we talked about it on our last Zoom meeting. It's one of the easiest tests I think I've ever seen, and there's not much effort into it. So that's not really making us better as referees. So I decided, let's get back into doing our weekly ones that I was doing postseason, I believe it was, and now we're into preseason. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about and you're totally confused, then please reach out to me. Just call me, text me, email me. I can get you the link. But it goes out on our Facebook group. I send out emails. I got a couple of threads that I send it out to, and then Marvin is going to get it out every Monday to the chapter. And it's just a jot form. You click on the link and it comes up. It's 5 questions. It doesn't take very long. But if don't take it if you've only got 5-10 minutes to spare. When you get an opportunity to do it, you got a whole week to knock it out. Sit down, get out your rule book, your manual, your case book, and kind of go through it. We talked a lot on Zoom meetings about understanding definitions can help our judgment. That's kind of the sentence of our summer and our kind of Zoom meetings we've been going over, is that can really help us. If we understand definitions, it can actually help us with our judgment. So that's why I wanted to kick off. Not disappointed. I mean, I'm disappointed in the numbers, but I wish we had more. But it just kind of was alarming how we're not very good on our rules as a group. So I just want us to be, the best chapter in Texas as far as our rules and understanding our rules, and then hopefully understanding how to apply them. So just wanted to, nothing negative, didn't want to start it off on a bad note, but just bringing some light to what's been going on with our quizzes. And again, you got the rest of the week to do it. What I'll do is probably, I'll do it like this. It'll be Monday through Friday, and then I'll probably over the weekend, I'll put out the correct answers with the actual rule on it. So then you can go look at the rule out of the casebook or the manual, whatever it is, and then I'll resubmit another one Monday morning. But again, I don't want to dive into too much of this meeting. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. That's how I want to start it. But I'll turn it.
Martin, real quick, before I forget, I know I'll forget in a few weeks. If I were to ask THSBOA to let us have the rules banked and get the questions to the rules person, maybe they're too busy to care. Would you guys be opposed to that?
And as far as what, getting them to make a test for us, or no?
For at least, let's work on next year. That way, if they send us the test bank, we'll pick the questions and get it to them, and we'll delve in where they're just picking easy ones. So I want to go there with a solution rather than with just the problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
say no,
absolutely.
I'm good with that. Because there's a test bank. I'd like us to use the 100%. Test bank. Okay, all right.
Yep.
I'm out.
Kenny.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do you think that the rules test we have are questions coming from NHS, or is THSBOA?
No, they give us a test bank, and then we're to pick from that test bank. I think it's like 150 questions, a test bank, and we're to pick from that. That was my understanding. I'll double check to make sure. But I know when what was his name? The guy that was good at doing it. Dalton, I think it was, something like that. Yeah, McCormick.
Yeah, McCormick.
Yeah. That's how he did his test. So, but I'll check out with the
getting the
newest
150
guy.
question test bank from the NFHS. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
It would be nice if we could get all of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And then we can help them. We'll make the test for if they don't have the time, because it might be time consuming. So I'll find out if that's the reason. If that's the reason, then first I'll ask for them to make the test a little bit more difficult, and our solution is that we're willing to help.
Yeah, we lost Kenny, but we can talk about that offline another time. But appreciate you guys joining in. Y'all.
No, I'm here. Just went on mute.
We don't need a swing lesson.
All right, Marvin, it's all yours.
Okay, all right. All right, guys, today got a few more participants tonight than we had last time, which is good. Mark and I talked about doing some mechanics questions, because I've got a bunch of questions over the last 3 or 4 or 5 years that came off the rules test, everything. So we could cover these. Most of these, or the ones that I've solved for this year, are all true and false. There's no multiple choice or anything to do that. So I thought we would start off with this and go through these. So Aaron has put up the questions for us. We'll do the first one, and then you'll go to chat and put true or false so we know what you got. And if everybody gets it right, we'll move on. If not, we'll discuss it a little bit. I hope everybody's okay with that. So the first question is, the trail official's free throw position is opposite the table. So everybody go to chat and give your answer. These questions all came off the 3-person test that I have. No 2-person on these. So everyone is putting false or not true or whatever. So the answer to the first question is false. The trail official free throw position is opposite table. The trail official will be table side, not opposite table. All right, good. So let's go to the next question. One of the non-ruling officials should immediately secure the ball while the ruling official is identifying the offender and reporting a foul. Okay, so everybody get back on chat again. Everybody's moving right along. Doing pretty good. Number 2 would be false. Yep, 2 would be false. So yeah, everybody's got false. Everybody's did a good job there. And if you'll, for those of you that have been on the Zoom meetings and before, we've covered this on numerous occasions in breaking down our film, whereas as an official seems like always trying to go get that ball when we should be monitoring what's going on with the players, getting ourselves in position. Those players will go get that ball for us, because we can't play without it. So they'll get it instead of one of our officials tracking it down. So very good. So number 3, when reporting a foul to the scorer, the official should complete all communication with the table before beckoning a substitute or granting a timeout request. So go to chat. Okay, looks like everybody's got true on that. So another good answer. Because true answer is true. All that information should be done before we beckon anybody on the floor or before we grant a timeout. Because if we do the timeout before, then we could take that time away from them, and we don't want to do that with reporting all of our information. So the answer to that is true. The official administering a disqualification should take a position on a division line halfway between the center circle sideline near the table to administer the substitution. Okay, everybody go chat. Keep going, everybody. Don't be afraid to answer the questions. We got 43 people on here, and we're not getting 43 answers. So please don't be afraid to answer the question. If we have an issue, then we can discuss it. All right, it looks like everybody stopped answering, so but the answer is true. And what we don't want to do here is get so close to the table when we do this. We want to maintain distance on the floor. Bump and run. Bump and run is a technique used when one official bumps the other official out of her current position and the vacating official runs down into a new position. Now this is also a two-person technique as well as three-person. This question was on, I saw it on 2 of my tests. All right, looks like we stopped answering that. Good job. I don't see anything, anybody put faults, everybody's got true. So good job on that one. So I want to go to the next question. The throw-in to start the second, third, and fourth quarters may be from either side of the court at the division line. All right, everybody's finished doing that. And everybody that I saw put faults. So we'll always be division line, even if we have opposite the table, even if we have to start a quarter with a technical foul, we still would be opposite table at the division line. Okay, next question. A warning issued to the head coach or bench personnel for inappropriate behavior should be documented in the scorebook. And the answer is true. And everybody had true. Very good. The next question is dead ball situation in which officials change positions when a violation of a foul is called is known as a switch. All right, so all the truths are coming in, and the correct answer is true, even though you hit the wrong key. So the key to this is that if we have a dead ball, that's when we switch. And when we have live balls, it's a rotation, not a switch. And if you understand your key, that on dead balls, it's referred to as a switch, versus on a live ball, it'll be a rotation. And we've talked about this a lot on Zoom. Officials should remain stationary to cover angles properly. Bill Zabicki, if you get this wrong, I'll shoot you. All right, folks, everybody's got false. And false is the correct answer. Okay, so the last question we have is official who begins a 5-second count may pass it to the other official if the two players involved leave that official's primary area of coverage. All right, so everybody's gotten false, and the answer is false. I appreciate y'all helping me take my 3-man mechanics test. Any questions or anything discussed on any of these questions? Uh, 8 of these questions are actually on this year's test, so if you haven't taken it yet, you might want to annotate, remember them to take it when you take your rules test, okay? So, but always remember, once you start a 5-second count, closely guarded, you don't pass it to anyone until there's more than 6 foot separation and your count starts. And then they could get back together in the other official's primary and they would pick up a new count, okay? Get that done. So like Mark has said, I think some of these questions on the rules test, and Kenny has talked about it, that they're pretty easy rules test to take in order for it to done. But and like Domingo said in chat here, to be able to take your rules test, you must first pay your THSBOA chapter dues. Without paying those, you can't get it to take any of the tests. So you need to pay those first before you can take your chapter dues to get that done. So no questions on these tests? Questions? All right, so I'll open it up for discussion. Aaron, you got anything?
I always have film.
All right, go for it. I got a question from one of our friends to know, should all of our summer games or AAU games that we do in the summer, should we be using these mechanics on our weekends and weeknights on league play for some of these to get things done? Should we be using these mechanics? If it pertains, and I believe that we should, if it, particularly if it pertains to two-person mechanics, because most of our summer stuff is two-person, not three-person.
Can I interject on that, Marvin?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think that's a great question. And I think we have to realize that some of us, 4 games might be a little bit much to do that mechanic. So what I encourage, what I try to do is talk with my partner, maybe do the first game where you practice good mechanics and do it by the 9s. Don't know at that level if there's a lot of us. I know I can't do 4 games at that kind of speed and that kind of movement.
I agree.
I don't know. How about we throw that out there? What do you guys think?
Well, I agree with that, with what you're saying, because I watched games this weekend. But some of the things that we could do better even is our closely guarded counts. A lot of us, I saw this week, we ignored, we're just moving right along, no backcourt counts, things of that nature. But my point is, if there are things we can do without degrading our working the game because we get tired or things, we should still do that. But I agree, we have to pace ourselves when we're doing 4 games in a row, particularly when some of those games are 6A, 5A boys teams playing in some of these tournaments. I agree with that. I heard that a lot this weekend. I'm working hard, but I'm pacing myself. And then there are some situations where we didn't work it hard and it came back to bite us in the butt. But I agree with you.
What does the group think? What does the rest of the guys think? I agree with like that you talked about, like the closely guarded. But there may be some people that disagree with that. Any thoughts? Anybody disagree?
I agree with the using yourself or whatever we want to call it. Knows that we're not. Some of us aren't young bucks anymore. So when we get down to the 4th game, it becomes more of a more labor. So I would think that during those 3rd and 4th games, maybe there's maybe not everything, but maybe there are some things that you want to do that might keep you in the game, mentally. I mean, that's what I do. I try to do is try to stay. The brain won't go dead. So there's things that you do in order to keep you in the.
And Kenny, I would submit to you that if you can't do that for 4 games, don't do 4 games. I know that's easier said than done, especially if assigners are short officials and stuff, but are you really giving your best effort to the game? Are you in game 3 and 4, whether you paced yourself? Did you pace yourself late in game 1, which was probably the game that you had the whole day? I just think that we're setting ourselves up for failure if we are trying to do 4 games in a row. I think that maybe if we had a break, then I could understand that. And I would suggest that bad habits occur during summer league games. If we hate ourselves and don't do what we're supposed to do, that's going to carry over, and it's going to come out in the season also.
and Kenny, also, like this tournament that we had this past, every game had 2 head coaches in the stands. So, I mean, I don't want to give a license to say if you do 4 games, you should be able to take the 3rd and 4th game off. I mean, you have to be careful with that because, unfortunately, that may be a real tough one. And if you're tired and you don't look as good, those coaches are going to take notice. And that's the way this tournament was this past weekend, where there were a lot of varsity high school teams playing.
And I've talked to Don a couple of days about that, and I think we should go to just assigning 2 games, not the chase, but instead of 4 games in a row, do a couple games, take a break, and come back and do a couple more games, because it's difficult out there and work 2 games just for $44, and we understand that, but I think we can do a better job of talking to our officials and getting them to do a couple here and then maybe a couple later after they've rested, gotten a bite to eat, something to drink, cool down and whatever it takes so they can still get that. But try not to assign any more than 3 games in a row. 4 games is very difficult for a lot of us.
David Harris, did you have?
Yeah, I did, because I think what Kenny was saying, I think there's a hybrid in it. I did 4 games, both days, and the first Saturday was tough, but I think what Kenny was saying, I think there's a hybrid in there. I mean, we rotated as much as we can, but there was some times where the hand went up and we didn't rotate. But I think some of the valid points were being made about the. I think every game I had, there was 2 coaches over there and stuff like that. But I think we have to have some type of hybrid system with that. When to rotate, if plays going, you on one end and it's constantly you seeing something. I just rotated out of that end and stuff like that. I just think the way Summer League is built, the only way we can do it is kind of a hybrid system. There's no great way to do it, because if like you said, Marvin, if you try to say 2 games and someone's going to say 30 by being out there for 7 hours instead I could have did something in 4 hours. And I think we just have to have a hybrid thing and do as much mechanics as we can due to the circumstances we're in, because that's not a normal thing, but that's Summer League.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's exactly what I'm not talking about. I don't say you take games off, but I'm saying there's ways to save and conserve energy. And so and I know for me, as the season gets closer, because I'm not good enough to like turn it on and turn it off, I pick up my good habits. Excuse me, I'm going up a hill. Whew. And so that's what I'm talking about, that we have to be smart. And I know it's hard for guys to go across town and work 2 ball games, and so I'm never saying, and I'll tell you what, coaches have come to me and said, hey man, we see you guys out there and we appreciate you guys being out here, because they know that we're working 1/4 of the pay. We're taking crap from parents that we don't normally take. So I think in that vein, coaches do understand. It's parents that don't have a good understanding of what we're up against out there. So, but like what I heard this weekend, because I talked to referees, and so just be careful. Like we talk about technical fouls, and we talk about, so we have to like be a little bit judicious about how we're taking what we have when we speak to an AAU as opposed to another game. I mean, so we have to really, I think you have to be a better communicator during AAU than you do during the season. I mean, it's intense and it's tough. So I know if guys to go out there and do what they're doing. So I just know it takes a lot of patience.
Go ahead, Mark.
I was trying not to speak a lot, but I wanted to touch on a few things. One, someone that can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Can someone mute that? I think it's probably David Harris. He never mutes himself. I can only imagine. I'm sure it's him. Aaron, can you do that for me, please? So anyway, for someone that assigns over the summer, and I know Mike Daniels is on here and some other officials that do assign, we can sit here all day long and say that we should referee, you know, the right way like we do. There's no way anybody on here referees an AAU basketball game at a high school game. We're getting paid $20, $22 a game on a two-person and doing 60-minute stop clock and all this. So for my personal opinion is we need to be better in the city as assigners who assign, that we need to be more consistent across the board. We need to be more like Austin, that is 25 per game per referee for two-person, or they'll do three-person mechanics at 20, which I think nobody on this meeting would have any problem doing 3 or 4 games of three-person mechanics at $20 a game instead of 22-person. And the problem is that other assigners allow $18, $20, and there's some referees that will go work for $18, $20 and do 10 games in you know, all day, sit there, or have 3 and rotate 3 referees an entire day. The consistency between tournament to tournament, the pay and how we do it, that's the issue. So I believe that we need to get a system that's consistent. No one in Austin will do a tournament referee for under $25 for a two-person. I think what we need to do is use this for training and do 3-person at 20, and then you don't have to fall into the issues of doing 4 games. Like, I consider myself someone who's somewhat young and pretty good shape. I can't do 4 games, 2-person. You hit that 4th game and you're wiped out mentally, whatever, and you don't want to take off. And I are saying, like, hey, we're older and we have to, you know, save ourselves, reserves ourselves. But then to Ben and Doc's point, what happens if your 4th game's your toughest game? Now what do you? Now you're doing disservice to the players and everybody. I think we also need to. We get caught up in those high school coaches out this weekend. Okay, hey, you deserve to have a good product on the floor as well. I understand this weekend was a high school tournament with high school coaches watching their teams, but it shouldn't be different any other weekend. The way that we put on the floor. So for me, it comes down to the assigners together to making sure that we're highly consistent in what we're doing. And my personal opinion is do 3-person at 20. I think we won't fall into all the issues that everybody's saying here about getting tired and doing. Nobody would want to do 2 games, sit 2 or 3 games and come back for $80, and now you're stretching out over 6-7 hours. It's just not smart with your time. So I don't think we can ever get into doing 2 games, going away and coming back, because nobody would want to do that. And I wouldn't want to do it. It makes no sense. All of us as families, you're going to go 7 hours a day for 4 games. It's not realistic. So if you can't do, like to Tony's point, Schaefer, if you can't do 4 games, don't take 4 games and tell your side, hey, I can only do 2. If you can use me, great. If not, then you ain't going to get games. Sometimes we do need 2 people to work games where you can come in and do 2. And then, but that's on you. And I think it also comes back to the referees understanding the body, right? And if you can't do that many games, then you shouldn't do it. And we had some issues this weekend about referees getting really tired, getting to that 3rd and 4th game. I got some phone calls about they're walking up and down the floor, and those. We can't do that. We can't put that product on the. So my original point is, if we get into a consistent system where we have 3 on the floor, I don't think any of the things that you were saying I can't do 4 games, I bet you can do 3 games at 3-person. That's my 2 cents. Would like to hear from anybody else that disagrees.
Yeah, Mark, I'll add to it. I agree with everything you said. I just want to piggyback off of what Ben Rivers was talking about. If you're out there working for the summer games, you're working 2-person mechanics, just pick 1 or 2 things for that particular day to work on to improve. It could be at trail position, your movements on dribble drives. It could be at lead position, picking up the secondary defender, the first one that moves. Just pick 1 or 2 things, whatever it is, bars, rebounding, and just work on that, and that'll help you a lot. And secondly, don't forget, 2-person really doesn't help you that much, in my opinion, in working 3-person games. So if there's an opportunity to jump into a 3-person game during the summer, do that, because a lot of times working 2-person games exclusively over the summer will screw you up when you go back to 3-person games. And mentally, the primary coverage areas are different, and you'll be calling all over the floors. Just a tip.
I thought that said, PJ, about the first point in picking little things.
Okay, all right. Kenny, I got a question, Kenny.
Thanks.
We go back.
I missed the birdie.
Okay, sorry. Question on, have
Go
you
ahead.
got an update rules book, case books?
No, and I promise, soon as I get that, you guys will get an email. There is no updates. I promise you, I will not hold on to those books a minute longer in my house. I have to. There's no word, nothing yet. I think it might be the USPL,
Did you hear back
but I
from
will.
NFHS about the portal?
Was I supposed to ask a question of the NFHS?
Yeah, the THSPOA board. If we were going to be members on an NFHS, so we can get to the rules book, case books, whatever, like we used
Oh,
to.
no, I didn't know I was assigned that task.
Ooh,
But now that I know that, I can ask that question. No, when did that get assigned to me?
Zoom sessions ago.
My bad. I will get.
That's why
I
Oh,
swear
man,
I'll get
you're
on it.
the rep. Come on.
Mr. Birdie.
Come on, come on, Rev. Okay, I'll get on it. I promise. I'll get on it.
Okay. All right. So
Thank you, Kenny.
we got another question. Files. Is that the visiting team's assistant coach gets an unsportsmanlike technical foul in the first half, and then the head coach gets an unsportsmanlike technical foul in the second half. What's the proper ruling with regards to ejection, free throw shots, and throw-in spots? Who wants to tackle that?
Marvin, can you repeat that to make sure everybody got it?
All right.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Technical fouls. First team assistant coach gets an unsportsmanlike technical foul in the first half. Visiting coach, unsportsmanlike technical foul half. And then the head coach gets an unsportsmanlike technical foul in the second half. What's the proper ruling with regards to any ejection, free throw shots, and throw-in spots?
Marvin, are we talking about one indirect and one direct? Am I hearing that correct?
That's what I'm reading.
Okay.
And is it to close out a quarter and start a quarter?
It's just no.
Just during the game?
That at all game. But
I'm just wondering why that would have a difference with throwing spots. That's my only why I'm asking.
well, I don't know, but we can answer it. Okay. So we have a technical foul on assistant coach in the first half. Is that an indirect to the head coach?
Indirect.
Indirect to the head coach, right?
Right.
In the second half, we have a direct to the coach, the head coach. So now he has one direct and one indirect. Is there any other penalty for that?
Nope. Just
No.
2 more shots.
That's right.
Seatbelt.
There's no
And seat-
ejection.
Seatbelt in.
There's no
Seatbelt
ejection.
would have been after the first indirect.
Yeah,
Correct.
at this point, there's no ejection. We have a direct and an indirect. We don't have two directs or two indirects and a direct. So we don't have an ejection on the head coach. So we would just shoot 2 free throws, and the offended team would get 2 free throws, and the throw-in spot would be where?
Opposite.
Always at the
Opposite
quarter.
That's a technical foul. Okay, so we all good with that?
Yep.
Okay, do we have another question? Yeah, very good. Somebody wants to increase pay for high school games or summer games?
That was during the summer game conversation.
Summer game, okay. Okay, no other questions that I can see. Anything else, Aaron, for discussion?
For discussion, no, but I still have film if you want to watch that.
You got some film? Okay, let's put it up. We got some time.
So this was just for transition and mechanics, because that's what you said earlier, because you wanted to focus on mechanics. So that's goal of looking at this film.
All right. Okay, so we got our play there on the rebound and transition to the other end. Anyone want to break that down for us? Anybody? Tony? Bill? Give you an opportunity to speak up. Say the film's too choppy.
New lead official too far out, took the longest to get into a position at all, is looking through the back of the players, not really adding to any coverage.
May I say something, Marvin?
Yeah, absolutely. That's
In
what
this
it's all
situation,
about.
this is a good situation of, play got ahead of us, and that happens. We're all going to get beat. A stoppage to get the best angle, knowing that player was going to the hole, probably would have been great. If she did right here, stop it about to get that great open look, and then as it finished, came on around, probably would have been the best thing for the new lead.
I agree. Would probably been a more proper position to be in to cover that play instead of continuing alongside without making a giant effort to get ahead of the play and wait on the play. So I would agree with your assessment. Anybody else?
I can't sure, but did the person put their head down and like try to bolt for it? I couldn't tell. I got my text in.
Need the offensive player.
No, look at the referee, the lead. Like, another burst of speed. Mike Daniels down all the time. But I can't tell.
I don't recognize.
I can't tell.
I don't recognize that. But
okay.
I think
okay.
Go back to the start. Go back to the start, Erwin. I think if a step or two sooner trying to get from that spot into our lead to get there would have helped us also. But, the play kind of blew up. Go ahead. And when the ball came toward the sidelines, it recognized that Red's gone to retrieve the ball before anybody and then get into transition. I think if our new lead had read that and take a couple steps sooner, would have put themselves right here, be turning and ready to go, and would put themselves in a better position to try to be ahead of the play versus getting past. But Michael's right. Once we get past, I think if we wait and read that as our new lead, because our trail really can't help us in this situation on that transition play. Anybody?
Hey, Marvin, can I jump in on this one?
Sure.
So I think I really don't see anything wrong with this play, like the hustle of the crew. I thought the crew did a great job of getting to the other end of the court. But just one thing that Lorenzo Alvarez taught us, that you could go all the way back to the beginning when the trail gets ready to turn and go back down court. Just one thing I want to mention that I thought was a great tip from Lorenzo. Yes. Okay. So when they get the rebound, right here, freeze. So Red is going to get the rebound, right? Look at the trail. There's not a defender there. Lorenzo told us to go ahead and make a pivot. Like, you know, most basketball players or referees who are former basketball players, they'll jump in the air and then turn and go. It's kind of funny to watch. But what Lorenzo said is take her left foot and the right foot and just slide and pivot and then take off and go. She could have got a couple of extra steps and maybe been ahead of the play, maybe not. But I thought this was great hustle because look how late start. Look, she got a late start. Her first step is backwards. On her right foot, I know this is really detailed and really technical, but Lorenzo told us this years ago at a camp at John Jay High School. Instead of taking a step backwards or jumping into the air and then turning, just pivot. Both feet pivot on your toes and take off and go. It'll give you an extra 2 or 3 steps ahead of the play to get down to the other end of the court. And that's the only thing I want to mention. But even with this late start, you look at the trail and the new trail and now the new lead and the center, they hustled and got down court. So I thought it was a great hustle.
Hey, PJ. Mike Daniel here. How you doing, brother? Nobody actually, nobody was questioning, their hustle on the play. We were just talking about when that play continued, just stopping and getting that good open look position to get a better view of it. Nobody questioned their hustle on the play at all, bro.
No, neither did I. I was just giving a compliment. Wow, it's just good hustle. As far as like top here either, because she's straight line. Right here, I don't think the officials should stop. She's straight line. If they're really flagrant, it's going to happen here. She can come across and get it too.
That's what I was.
I thought she did a great job trying to get down. Yeah, I thought she did a great job of just busting her tail to try to get down to the end line. I love this hustle.
I was going to say we have to be ready to help as the new trail.
Anybody else?
Go ahead, Mark.
Anybody else?
Hey, Marvin, I got a couple things.
All right.
Page 46. 5-10-1, situation D. Okay.
Okay.
Situation here where the ball touches the official. And the ruling is that the coach may step to the scorer's table and request a 60-second timeout and have the referee come to the table. The coach is permitted to do the under provisions of the coach's rule. Anyway, it goes on and says that time, I thought they said that 2 seconds could be put back on the clock, et cetera, et cetera. Where I was confused with this is I thought that the official was part of the court, that if the ball hits the official, it's just like, I guess, hitting the floor, and that play continues. But here it seems like because the ball hit the official, there's a ruling here. Seconds can be put back on the clock.
Do you have the case play there?
Yeah, I've got you want me to read it word for word?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. There's 6 seconds left on the clock in the fourth quarter, and the ball's in the possession of Team A. The throw in by A1 touches the official on the court and then goes across the court and out of bounds. The timer permits 2 seconds to run off the clock. What recourse does the coach of either have in such a situation? In the ruling, either coach may step to the scorer's table and request a 60-second timeout and have the referee come to the table. The coach is permitted to do this under provisions of the coach's rule. The referee shall come to the sideline, confer with one or both coaches and the timer about the matter. And if the referee has definitive knowledge that there were 6 seconds on the clock when the ball was awarded to Team A for the throw, it is the responsibility of the referee to have the 2 seconds put back on the clock the timer and score, and the other officials can be used by the referee to gain definitive information. If there is no mistake or if it cannot be rectified, the requesting team will be charged with a 60-second timeout. The only thing I was confused about that was the ball hit the official. I just thought that the ball hits the official is part of it. And it says that the ball hit the official, the ball went off the court and it went out of bounds. And then they came back and said that this could be rectified and 2 seconds could be put back on the clock. I'm just confused. Why is that being done? If they threw the ball and it hit the official and it went across the floor and went out of bounds, again, isn't the official part of the floor? I mean, part of the game. I don't understand why it has to be rectified.
Yeah, but so hold on, Marvin. Don't. So James, walk it through. So when can the clock start?
When the ball makes contact, right?
With
who? With the teammate that the ball's thrown into. Let's say
okay.
A1 throws it to A2. A2 has to. So you're saying the ball hasn't made contact to A2?
Correct.
Okay, that was kind of right. But when does the clock start? When it's what? Not only by A1 or A2. Who else?
The official, right?
Any member on either team.
Okay.
The ball is legally touched. Yes.
Correct.
Oh, I see. Now it makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what I'm thinking. All right, now that makes sense, right? So the ball didn't touch anybody. Time was taken off the clock, even though it hit the official. Okay.
Yeah, because during live ball play, going from one end to and a pass hits the official, ball stays live unless it goes out of bounds. So, but on the throw in, it's ruled much differently than that when it must legally touch some player on the floor, whether it be offense or defense, and then the official would start the clock and go from there. That happens, putting 2 seconds back on and fixing it is not a big issue.
And remember, Jim, on that throw in, if it hits the official is on the floor, standing on the floor, and A1 then or A2 then gets the ball. That's a good play.
Yeah.
That's a good play.
I see. Right. Okay. It's just nobody touched the ball. Okay.
That's correct. The official is considered part of the floor. He's not eligible to grab the ball and possession on it.
Okay. I had one other too, Marvin. Again, on page 40.
Go into that. Can I go back to that play if y'all don't mind?
Go ahead, Mike.
I wanted to ask. It looks like the trail has a good look, and since the lead is still catching up, I mean, I know she's still kind of far out, but it slows down. Would it be okay? I mean, would you guys agree that just keep coming in and call something there, or is she just too far out?
You talk?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the trail.
Hey, it's Diana. The trail. That's a good question, and I meant to say something earlier. Annette and I actually talked about this play. She asked me what I had on it, and we actually talked about, she acknowledged that it probably would have been better to stop and get that and keep going. I think somebody pointed that out, but we did talk about that. She asked me if I saw anything or what I had, and I told her I couldn't see through that. Maybe if I would have gone a tad bit wider, I might have, but I thought I was pretty wide already, and it looked like something was there, but I do remember talking about that play.
So to Diana's point, I mean, if she had a look, then yes. To answer Mike's question, someone's got to come get that play if we can. Preferably it'd be C. I think Mike said that, or maybe
yeah,
P.
Yeah, I think that's Wicker, right? I think it's.
We're not talking about referee. We're just talking about positions.
No.
Position players.
Well, yeah, but I'm just trying to remember if that was the because we did talk about C position as well. Yeah, we just, we just didn't have the looks. At least I know I didn't.
Yeah,
But if I will tell you that if I did, I will tell you if I did, I would have blown my whistle for sure. Like
That's
Kenny said.
primarily my question. Because if you look at the middle, I mean, even C looks like he's having a problem seeing through all those bodies. I mean, he's leaning a little bit. So, I mean, it looks like it's kind of difficult to see that play from C either way. So, I mean, he might have been able to get in better position. I'm not sure. But, yeah, that was my question, though. I mean, if Trail had a good look, could they come in and just call, running in and
can I jump in on this? Sure.
Yes.
How you doing? Several things were said right, and I'm trying not to repeat them, but I think the key to this play is at the beginning. If you go to the beginning, if you look at her posture at trail, we have to anticipate plays and what's going to happen next. When the ball was known that Red was going to get the ball, as somebody alluded, pivot, whatever you got to do to get down court, there was too much focus on the ball from Trail. The system right here, that focus right there, could be better. Anticipating, let me start to make my move to transition. And like everybody mentioned, it was great hustle, but this, I think, is the key to the play, the staying there in that stationary position, a tad, and roll it. That right there, those two backs still looking at the ball is probably incorrect mechanically, because tip to tip, sideline to sideline, C is the assist, and Trail and New Trail has the ball. So this focus on the ball here, this view, probably should have been the view she has right now. Should have started early. Also, on this play, and I like what people, this play warrants a whistle from somewhere. There's no absolutes, but the amount of contact on this play warrants a whistle, because the worst thing that could happen on this play is no whistle. And from what I see, the system should go lead, center, then trail, because one thing Diana can say, and I'm gonna ask Diana, we do agree there's enough contact to warrant something being blown, right? So it's better to have some whistle and maybe we'll caught us as opposed to no whistle. So I just wanted to add that.
Can you hear me, Marshall? Oh, so I just to answer, I thought those were some real good points. But to answer Mike's question, in that if the Trail's going to make that call, finish on top of that play. Like, don't stop running, so the appearance is that I was on top of that play. Agree, I would have taken an educated
guess. Absolutely. And hey, you can't sell out of Kenny that if you trail, you can't treat it as though that was your play in your primary that everybody saw. You have to come in with the cadence whistle, hopefully, delayed whistle, because you gave them the opportunity to adjudicate the play. But once you blow, that may be a double pop, double fist to let them, this play needs a whistle. The stopping in transition, that's a decision that needs to be made by the person who's officiating. Usually you stop when it's a one-on-one play in the fast break at half court, and you can't get there. As PJ said, it was great hustle by all three. I think, though, we needed to start our acceleration earlier. We need to prepare earlier. And standing there with your hands on in front of you is not an athletic position to get ready to run. So there was a lot of stuff that needed to happen before we could get into a sprint. And the two jump steps, still looking at the ball, probably should have been with the head on the shoulder, starting the sprint. That is probably mechanically the best thing that needed to be done on the play. It's the beginning, not the end. Okay.
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
All right. You got it, Mike. Uh,
I thought James had one more.
you got another one?
I have a comment, one more comment. Goes about the Freedom Summer League.
Hold on. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Everything you said, Kenny, David, about the 4 games, and Mark was absolutely right, you know, about the 4 and sitting and all that. Nobody's really going to do that. One thing I did want to say, things we can control that we can carry over into the season, I don't know why we don't do. For example, earrings and loops. And if we get them to adjust now, we'll make it easier during the season. Predominantly the same officials you see during the summer are going to be the ones you see during the season. And the comment that a player is going to make is, you let me do this all summer, why now do I have to change? And especially the earrings, which is a safety issue. Now the T-shirts and all that and shirts out, whatever, that's fine. But the things that we can control that have nothing to do with hustle, conditioning, we should be able to handle. And finally, Summer League, more than anything, gives you an opportunity to improve your communication skills because you don't have the sterile environment of a high school basketball game. You have to deal with all different. So just wanted to add that.
Okay. You had another one, James?
Yeah, page 45 in the casebook, situation A. Wait a minute, I'm sorry. Back up, page 46, 59-4. There's no station letter, it just says 594. It's at the top of the page on page 46. I was just a little unclear on if a thrower is out of bounds is going to, the ball is going to cross the out of bounds line, and I just want to know what's the ruling on that if the opponent slaps the ball while still in his hands. I assume he can do that since the ball is across the out of bound lines. Is that correct? Does that make sense?
So the thrower in has exposed the ball across.
Right.
Okay. That is correct. If he puts the ball over the end line, the defender can slap the ball out of his hand.
Okay. So the question is, I wasn't clear on possession arrow. So it said that, I'll just read it. It says, thrower A1 holds the ball through the throw-in boundary plane, and B1 slaps the ball out of his or her hands. Okay. Clock starts when it's released by A1 as it simultaneously has been touched on the court by B1. Okay, that makes sense. Then it says, if this had been an alternating possession throw-in, the arrow would be reversed. So, the arrow is going to be reversed anyway, right? I mean, that's basically just like if he just threw it into his teammate. If it was an alternating possession arrow where they were getting the ball out of bounds, the arrow would be reversed anyway, right? So nothing changes there as far as that goes. Am I reading that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing that would be different, James, so what if he hits that guy?
Physically?
Yeah, if he misses the ball and slaps the guy.
Okay. I would assume we got a foul.
Well, we got a certain kind of foul, right?
Common foul?
Technical foul.
Oh, technical foul. Okay.
Would we have, if we had a alternating, but would we change possession?
No.
There we go.
Okay.
Jim, if I might add, you can avoid a lot of possibilities with that play occurring. Remember, if they have the room on the end line or sideline, give them the ball 3 foot deep.
Okay.
Then if they move up forward, it's apparent to everybody that it was the fault of the guy putting the ball across the line. Okay? Don't cramp up near the end line and hand him the ball and then have some coach screaming at you that you didn't tell him to back off or something. All right?
The foul would be an intentional, not a technical, if he hits the thrower in.
Correct.
So let me ask this question. Let's say that the ball is crossed the line and the defender hits the ball but it doesn't knock the ball out of his hands. He brings the ball back out of bounds again. Are we still, everything's still good? Can he still throw the ball in under the 5 seconds?
Good.
Does that make sense?
It's
He
good.
is. Okay, so there's no violation there if he goes across the line and brings it back, or as long as his body's out of bounds, he can bring the ball back and then he can look for a teammate to throw it into.
Yep.
Okay.
As long as
What if
only hit
what
when they slap.
what if B1 reaches through and it's a held ball?
Reaches through the out of bounds line?
Yeah.
Alternating possession.
That would, okay.
What do you have there?
Okay, if the defender is reaching through the out of bounds line and has his hand on the ball,
Grabs the ball, and so A1 holds. So now it's a held ball. You blow your whistle, but
well, the way I guess I'd be wrong probably, but the way I rule that is if the ball is out of bounds and not across the out of bounds line, and he reaches across the out of bounds line and puts his hand on it, then we've got a warning, don't we? No?
At a minimum.
Be a technical foul.
Oh, that's right. Be technical. That's right. Right. It'd be a warning if he was across the line but didn't touch him. So it's a technical if he touches him with the ball out of bounds. Okay. Yeah. Right.
Correct.
No, I'm confused.
Yeah, I got confused too.
So if we have a held ball, that's a great question.
It'd be a held ball if he's got the ball outside the end line.
And the ball's across the plane.
No, he didn't say across the plane. He said the guy reached.
He's saying across the plane.
No, that's not what he said. He crossed it.
no, he reaches through.
Yeah.
And grabs the ball. So now A1 and B1 are just holding the ball. So you're going to have to blow your whistle.
But where's the ball?
But what do you have?
But
The defender reached through the end line, and that's
not
technical
gonna
foul.
That's a technical. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought he was saying it reached through, but you're right. If he touches it on his side of the end line, which is out of bounds, then it's a technical because you can't touch the ball.
correct. You're never going to have a held ball in that situation.
But what if he's across? That's the good question. What if the ball's across the end line? Does anyone know?
I believe if he's got the ball outside of and it's inbounds and they grab it and hold it and it's a held ball, you go to the possession there, I believe.
I disagree. I know if you
Because you got a player out of bounds.
exactly.
Right. I had this discussion with Mark Veer. You do have a
I don't
player
know.
that's out of bounds,
I'm
but
telling-
I
I don't
believe
know.
it is held. I agree with you. The guy's out of
From my
bounds.
understanding, if the ball is put through the zone or the
Mhm.
area and into the playing court, that player has the right to take the ball.
That's correct.
Yes.
Now,
Yeah, I agree.
But if it's a held, but if it's a held
what if
ball,
it's tied up?
isn't it out of bounds and the ball goes to the other player, the defender?
I don't think you can have a held ball
Yeah, we got.
person that's considered dead because they're out of bounds.
There's got to be a
Good.
case play for
There's got to
that.
be a
There's gotta
case
be a
play
case
for that. But I would believe if both people are holding and putting on it, like they both own it, that you would blow your whistle and in that situation you have a violation because the player's still out of bounds and the ball would go to the other team. But that's something we'll have to look up.
It's kind of the
I
same.
agree with you, Marvin, but
It's almost the same thing as like when you hand the player the ball instead of your own player. Team A gives it to Team A and just hands it to him and doesn't pass it to him. It's a violation.
Yeah, then it's a violation. Correct. That's a good analogy, Mike. I don't know. I think that's a great question.
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
gonna- I
but
gotta find that
we just said that it was legal for if the
Illegal.
founder was holding the ball over the inline and the
Mhm.
defensive player knocked it out of his hands, that was legal.
Correct, which is that's a rule.
That's a case.
Right. Right.
Well, I understand, but now we're talking about not knocking it out and holding on to it. A little bit different, but I'm not 100% sure.
I think the held ball.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I really believe the held ball has to be between two players who are on the court that are live.
That's what I would say.
That is correct.
It cannot be with a person dead, for lack of a better term, and a live player. You cannot have a held ball.
So then you would have a violation then.
Yes, out of bounds.
I agree that makes sense, but I'm pretty sure it's a held ball.
I know it.
But
That does make
we're
sense.
just going to get back to everybody to make sure. So
that was a good one.
Yeah.
Whoever thought of that.
That's going to be a long discussion, more like.
yeah.
There's got to be a case play. Got to be.
Okay. So let's some more clip, and when we finish this clip, we'll be through for the evening. Okay. So Erwin, do your magic. Okay, who wants to take a stab at it? One of our very senior officials, please. Someone that doesn't talk very often. What you got, Raul?
I think it's clearly a block on the drive after the steal, but the lead should have been in a better position to adjudicate that call. I mean, Yassi did make the call from across the court, but I think lead could have easily called as well, or probably should have had the position on that call.
Raul, is the lead in correct position at this moment?
Excuse me, I'm sorry, on the inbound pass?
Yes, right now. Is he in correct position?
I would drop down a little. I mean, his left foot's in the inline. I would drop down a little bit.
Okay, and what about the center? Is the center in correct position?
No, I think he's too high. I think he needs to come down a little bit. I mean, I know it looks like it's a press. They're pressing on defense. So he's in between, the 5 players that are possibly defenders, and they're in the backcourt on the inbounds pass. So he's helping there. I think the trail down on the other end.
Center start position for press?
I'm sorry?
Where's the center? Where should the center always start?
On the inbounds pass? Inbounds?
In transition.
Well, he should be right there, at least at the 28, at the 28-foot line or division line.
The center should always be in 3-man. It's free throw line extended or first line of defense.
Okay.
So this trail is officiating 6 players essentially by himself because this is his nearest matchup.
You didn't take your tenders?
If C had been at free throw line extended, he wouldn't even have taken a step in for this call, but he would have been in perfect position because the play curls to him. It's curling away from the lead, so the lead has the worst look at it. What else y'all got?
Okay, so in this setup, Raul, the new C official over there should be at the second line of defense, not the first, but the first line would be way down here on the inside here. So technically, the correct statement would be the second line of defense, which would be the free throw line extended. So like you said, Okay, and like Erwin was saying, the lead or in this position, the trail, starting right in the trail until he throws it in, and the ball is stolen, becomes the lead. So, and in this situation right here, I think Erwin is saying to close down toward the free throw line, extend it a little bit and help out on this play instead of the C having to come in from up there to get that call.
I think the lead, pretty much no matter where he is, he's going to be stacked because it's curling away from him. Like right now, even if he's closed down, he has backs. If he's wide, he may have the best like chance. But technically, this is C's play. It's just hard if we don't start.
Well, and I also think C could have made it look a whole lot better, closed down on the call instead of staying out the 28-foot mark when he made the call.
Plus, his initial move was the other way. He didn't stay down as a C in this play and stay connected with it. His first move was to go to his new position on the other end. And when we really didn't have any movement of the basketball going that way other than the throw-in.
Mm-hmm. True stuff. But still could have closed on the call.
There's a similarity between that last play and this play, and you hit on it, Marvin. It starts in the beginning as opposed to, hey, there's a press, let me help on the press. The initial movement is up the court as opposed to let me accomplish press coverage and assist the trail on this play, especially with 6 players
yes, sir.
to the top of the key in the backcourt. But his first movement is up court, which I'm confused why.
Anybody else?
And this is an opportunity also to step on the court and not stay on the sideline, being that the ball is 2 or 3 lanes over.
Okay, any other questions? All right, very good. We had 45 people on the night, which is good.
Hold on, Marvin. I got something.
All right.
With respect to everyone's social injustice going on, and you see people taking a knee, some don't take a knee. We as officials, let's say we're in a crew, one wants to take a knee, the other 2 want to stand. Is that what we're going to do, or how are we going to do that?
That's the board is going to discuss that, and we'll provide on that before we start the season.
Make sure you get with your rep and give them your response.
Yeah.
They're representing you, not themselves.
Get your opinion in there. Just like everyone, just like you see on TV, you know, what someone feels and what you feel is different. If they do something different, we may not be able to dictate to anyone how they do that. So, but that's something the board has brought up, and they're going to discuss that. Better guidance at a later time.
Hey, Marvin.
Yes.
Can I interject with that? Is that something that is being contemplated for officials? Is that for officials, or is that just the players?
Well, the question he asked is not officials, not the players.
Is that something that we should even be discussing as far as taking action?
For the players or the officials?
For the officials.
Well, some people think that's something we should discuss. So it will be, and then they'll come up with something, and hopefully it'll be the right thing, and that information be passed along at a later time.
Yeah, and I think it's a good conversation to have rather than have it the day that it happens. Right? A way we can at least, you're right, Tony, we can't legislate what someone does, but at least we can ask it to make sure, like, hey, we try to be on one accord as much as we can.
Hey, this is Diana. Hopefully y'all can hear me. I'm to Del Rio. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere right now. But it's exactly what Marvin said. We're going to provide guidance.
Right.
Not a rule, not, anything like that, but guidance. And so that is something the board will discuss and provide guidance to the officials. But Kenny said it, we cannot legislate or, require officials to do this or that and those kinds of things. I mean, that's something we just need to have a discussion and provide general guidance to the membership. So that's what we'll do. And on that note, just a couple of quick things, if I may, Marvin. One is we do have a board meeting tomorrow. And so if there's any officials out there that want to attend via Zoom, send me an email link. I've sent it out to people in the past. So just let me know. Is if you guys have not taken the survey about whether you're going to officiate this year, I'm assuming everyone that's on this call is planning to officiate here. I'm not sure, but I know there's some job requirement involved. And people have, people that are at risk they live with, that sort of thing. But we're still get an idea, a number. Out of our near 400 officials, we only had 130 officials that have responded to that survey. It's not even a third. So we really, if you haven't done it, do so and encourage others to go. I'm going to send it out again this week. So just want to let everybody know that.
Hey, Diane, Marvin, can I ask you guys a question?
Sure.
Because, the whole summer I've tried to decide whether to go officiate or not. The summer games, and part because of my age. Can you tell me, has there been any officials at all who's doing the summer leagues that have been infected with the virus or not? Or have you don't know of anybody?
Don't know of anybody at this time.
Yeah, not to our knowledge. We have not been, no one's reported that they have.
Okay.
Good question.
But we also do not have a requirement that they have to notify us if they do.
That's a good point, Aaron. Thank you, because that is correct.
Right now they don't have to, but once we get into the season, they probably will have. I'm sure THOSOB or the school district will make that mandatory.
Was that Mike?
Well, yes, it'll probably be different, of course, when they're around other officials. Yes, they would have to report to let the other officials know, but we just don't know. And we also don't know when the season's going to happen yet. For sure. A lot's up in the air.
Okay, everybody. Thank you all. Thank each and every one of you.
Thanks, everybody. Good discussion, guys.
Great discussion.
Y'all take care.
Thanks, Aaron.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Y'all take care.
Good luck.
Be safe.
Thanks.
James, see if we can find that case play.
Yes, I will. I'm headed home right now. I'm going right to my books.